sometimes I like to just let go of my
Inhibitions.
yeah, in a way.
Okay.
And let go of my what's that called? Nihilism a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
And I like to just entertain certain phenomena that I know are not how they are presented.
Okay.
Like, obviously, I've talked about it before. I believe in some of the paranormal stuff. I've had some weird experiences I can't explain. I've seen some weird shit. But I'm always going to try to be as skeptical as possible.
Yeah. It's fair. It's a good approach.
I also don't believe in aliens from another world. A lot of people see it as, including myself, see it as it's the manifestation of a phenomena that is trying to convince you it's, aliens from another world or something. Like it's trying to get something from us, and that's the way it's presenting itself to get that.
Okay.
That's my idea of most things that are paranormal.
Yeah.
They're trying to get something from us, feed or whatever. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to try to pretend I know. They're trying to get something from us, and they're going to do that in any way that they can. And if that means pretending they're little green men in a spacesuit, as long as they get that reaction or whatever it is they want, then it's a valid strategy. Maybe I'm completely off. I don't fucking know.
You're nuts. No.
Yeah. But I love, die-hard UFO guys who are also like, no, ghosts don't exist. It's like, what the fuck? Well, how can you convince yourself that this is science, but more ghost sightings have been reported than fucking UFO
weird.
sightings? So enter the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, or the APRO. They published in the past a bulletin called the APRO Bulletin, and I like reading old articles because a lot of times you get weird shit.
Well, I mean, it's just such an odd point of view. Yeah.
Well, I just hate modern UFO people.
Yeah.
The David Icks of the world, the fucking Blink-182 singer guy. Tom DeLonge, he's big into UFOs.
Oh.
They're all way off the base, and it's fine, and they're allowed to be fucking wrong. No, they're just, a lot of them
just weird about it.
This, they go beyond what is reported and just go fucking crazy. There's how many stories have I read about, I saw this UFO, and then this lady, this Venusian 6-foot tall fucking 36Ds fucking just came through the wall and wanted to sleep with me. Balding middle-aged American man with a mole on his face. Like,
hey, anything is possible,
No, I don't believe that. I do not believe that. So this came from the July 1970 episode. Fuck me.
Man, you're struggling.
Sorry. The July 1970 edition of the APRO Bulletin. And the official title is Finns Observe UFO Occupant. Boring title. God.
Ooh, yeah.
Come on. So January 7th, 1970, around 3:45 p.m., you get Aaron Heinonen, 36, a forest worker, and Esko Vilho, maybe, 38, a farm worker. They are active skiers, because what the fuck else are you going to do in Finland? And they're bros. They're on their way to a ski area, and they're they're trying to redefine the ski track because it just snowed.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you know about skiing, I'm sure you understand that. I don't. It's okay. It doesn't matter for the story. They stop for a short rest because cross-country skiing sucks. And they reported there were no clouds, no wind, clear day, fresh snow.
Mint.
Finnish paradise. And they were startled to see a very bright light in the sky coming from the north. It was enveloped in a fog, and there was no sound at all, which is similar to a lot of people report the Oz effect, where it's just something weird is happening. There, like, you got a weird feeling in your stomach, or you're seeing something, or some type of phenomenon is happening, but there are no sounds around you. Like, you're in the forest, but there are no bugs, no birds.
Yeah, it's just like eerily silent.
Eerily silent. So there was this weird light that was surrounded by fog, and the cloud changed course out of nowhere, like it was going one direction, and then it changed course quickly towards the two bros.
Uh-oh.
And there was a humming sound that got louder as it started to get a little bit closer, and then the the cloud kind of turned reddish grayish, which is weird because no clouds in the sky besides this one. And it appeared to pulsate. And kind of like, exactly, it's so stereotypical. For 1970, I love it. But this is like pre-internet.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But smoke, it looked like the cloud was like being emitted from the top and then coming down. Which was weird.
Like a disguise.
Oh, yes, like a cloud generator. When the cloud reached 15 meters from the ground, that's roughly 50 feet.
Yeah.
They see that there's a round craft with a flat bottom, shining gray metal inside the cloud that is 3 meters in diameter, about 10 feet. The center of the bottom part had a pipe-like affair protruded, is what it says. But, you know, just like a little bonk. Exactly what you're seeing in your head, stereotypical UFO. The pipe was 2 centimeters long and 5 centimeters in diameter. So it was a small pipe. Actually, that's huge. I've heard that is huge.
Yeah, I hear it's pretty average.
Yeah. On the larger side to average.
Yeah.
And as it got closer to them, it looked like the cloud was thinning out. And it kind of comes down to 3 or 4 meters from the ground.
Okay.
And, 10 to 14, 15 feet. Hey, look at those on the fly.
Wow, this guy.
Yeah. I see. So Heinonen was watching the reddish-gray mist and said that suddenly he felt like something had seized him around the waist and pulled him backwards.
It was his buddy.
It was his buddy.
He was pulling him in for a kiss.
Yeah, a little back of the neck kiss,
Yeah.
He took a step back and noticed that in the middle of the circle of light, which came out from that tube, suddenly there was a light there, and in that light was a creature. 90 centimeters in height, that's 3 feet tall. Very thin and slender arms and legs, waxy, pale face, no noticeable eyes, but it did have a hook-shaped nose, like Snape.
Okay.
I assume. The creature was clothed in some sort of overall, where the material was light green in color. The feet were in boots of a deeper shade of green, and had white gauntlets that covered the hands and arms up to the elbows. He had claw-like fingers and clutched a black box. Out of a round hole in the box, a yellow light was pulsating. So it was like holding a little box.
Yeah.
Like, weird shit. Wilhelm says that he didn't really remember much of the clothing, but he was not focused on looking at this thing's clothing. He was kind of freaking out, which makes sense.
Yeah, justifiable.
And then he said that the glowing was like it was made of phosphor. So like a phosphorus kind of burning glow.
Huh.
But he did notice a conical helmet which appeared metallic. Like
a little dunce cap.
Yeah, a little dunce cap. The creature was in sight for 15 to 20 seconds. Then he turned the opening in the box that had the light to those two bros. And the light, was blinding coming out of this box. And then, let's see, the mist began to pour down from the craft, and there were sparks. And the fog encompassed the creature. And they couldn't see him anymore. And then the light from the ground, or from the craft to the ground, looked like it was sucked up, like it went.
Yeah, pulled their little Martian friend up.
Yeah. Then the red mist dissipated, and the whole object was gone. It just zipped out of there. They stood there for 2 or 3 minutes, obviously in shock. And Heinonen, the guy he was in front, he had he started feeling like tingling on his right side,
Uh-huh.
which was the side kind of closer to the little bro. And then his right leg gave out.
Uh-oh.
Completely underneath him.
The little alien flashed a stick of plutonium at him.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's what I was thinking when I was reading this initially. So his friend grabbed him, and he has to, like, drag him and support him 2 kilometers.
Damn.
Back to civilization, because they were out there.
Yeah.
They get back. They go to Hainonen's house where his mother is, so she was interviewed for part of this. And she remembers that Vilho, his face was swollen and red. Hainonen was sick. He had a backache. He said his joints were hurting. He said he had a headache. He starts throwing up. And for 2 months, his urine appeared dark in color, almost black.
What the fuck?
Almost, yeah. Like his, kidneys were failing or something. I don't know. Both men, they were looked at by a doctor was interviewed for this. And he said that they were completely in shock, so he prescribed them sleeping pills because it's 1970.
Hey, bada bing.
Or whenever this happened, I don't remember.
Yeah, you said the 70s.
And then he started to, at this time it was weird. He basically was like, it's kind of like they were irradiated.
Yeah, it sounds
really
like
what
it.
They were, the redness. The
sounds
feeling,
like radiation sickness.
And then that radiation sickness can definitely cause maybe some kidney issues. And I think it's an interesting event considering it was 1970, and these guys were purported to be very serious investigators. Like they very much adhered to investigative journalism rules, interviewing people independently and fact checking and comparing to each other. So something happened, and it was weird, and they had weird radiation sickness type shit. But I also like talking about stories like this because so much of modern paranormal investigation or UFOs or whatever the fuck you want to call it, so much of that views the paranormal as a positive. They're here to help us. They're like, it's such a, it's great that they're here. They're trying to help us. I hate this mumbo jumbo. It's they're trying to help us level up or reach the higher vibrational level. Bullshit like that. The new age shit is bullshit because it's all happy and fluffy. And my nihilism says nothing can be all positive. And you know what? It's fucking true. Because here's a story of something in the paranormal hurting somebody.
Yeah.
It's
fair.
not all positive. And if you think it is, then go fuck yourself.
Yeah. End of story. See you next week.
Every time I talk about the paranormal, every time I get away with talking about the paranormal for this project, for this podcast, it's always to point out that modern New Age people are full of shit.
It's true, yeah.
And that it is not all positive and happy.
Yeah.
And that's
it's chaotic.
Because people will trust this shit, be led on a wild goose chase, and be damaged. And piss black for 2 months.
And end up with radiation sickness.
Up in Finland.
Yeah. Oof. Fate worse than death.
Yeah, so what do you think about this UFO experience? You think it's true? You think it happened?
I don't know, man. Like, they're both skiers. They're out in the middle of nowhere. It's the 70s. It's not like they have, like, a radio with them that they're just listening to shit. Probably on drugs. Potentially. I don't know. I can't say for certain. But, I mean, maybe one of them did something weird, got hurt, and they were like, fuck, dude, we're going to sound like fucking idiots if we don't chalk this up to something else. Just, we'll say it's alien shit. Like,
but
fucking.
How
like,
would they have gotten hurt?
I don't know. I have no idea.
From radiation poisoning. Like,
I don't know. They fucking sneak into some, like, weird bunker that's out there. They find some, like, some glowing fucking uranium rocks. I don't know. And they're like, dude, we can't do this shit. It sounds like, yeah. For me, I'm like, I don't know what happened. It very well could have happened. I can't say for certain, but like, I think the story is really fucking interesting and captivating.
Yeah. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it happened. It fucking might have. Who knows? But yeah.
But I am willing to say it probably wasn't a fucking alien.
Yeah.
Why would
looks like Marvin Martian.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Why would any type of sentient life in this entire universe ever want to visit us. Look at us as a species. Look at us from the point of view that they would look at us. How many wars are going on right now with rampant civilian deaths? How many genocides have occurred just in the last 50 years?
To be fair, I can't imagine that any kind of alien is coming into it going, what's their geopolitical situation right now?
I would.
I mean, you would think, but like if they're fucking coming down and taking samples and trying to figure out who we are, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, I was actually just reading about them on it looks like they have stuff on Fox News and CNN, two rival news companies. If they're going to come down and like probe and take samples and test, I highly doubt that they're fully aware of what the fuck is going on right now. I think that human beings are boring. I fully agree that human beings are boring as shit, but like I feel like those two things just can't line up. That it's like, oh, they would test people, but they're not aware of like our current geopolitical situation. Like they would have to know both things.
Yeah,
like it's it's just
why
like,
would they ever come over and even want to test on us? Like they'd probably come down, take a couple samples, completely decode our genome, and say, okay, fuck you guys to destroy your planet. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Because we have our own shit going on.
Like,
you know,
it's just
we need to make sure these guys don't get into space beyond their moon, because then there goes the galaxy.
It's fair.
Yeah, there's no reason they'd be here to sleep with us.
Like I can see if they're, it's just like such a weird duality of like, really if they're that advanced, then they would take these samples and study it. But if they're that advanced, I think they'd be able to figure out like an internet connection.
Yeah.
But if they can't, they can't access fucking Starlink, Elon's like fucking free, not free internet. Like if they can't access that, then it's like, okay, I can see why they would take those samples. It's just weird. It's like it's such a, I mean, it's a plot hole.
And TV waves obviously reach into space.
Yeah.
They'd be able to know this shit, and then they'd say, okay, fuck these guys.
It's just one of those weird plot holes with it that it's like,
I love it.
It's like I get it, and I can see that, like, yeah, they could look at the everything that's going on, like, forever across, like, news, media, and everything, and they're like, whoa, we don't want anything to do with that. These guys clearly don't fucking get it. And then it's like, well, then why the fuck would they try to contact us? But at the same time, they would like do samples because they don't know about it's just
but why would they need even samples?
That's what I mean is it's like it's just a it's just a rock tumbler, like
it really is.
It's just well, why this? Okay, well, why this? Why this?
Many of the more modern stories, you can tell when people are pushing their own narrative for a reason. Whether they're writing a book, making money on it, doing talks about, you can tell when people are doing that shit. And there's so many plot holes where it's like, yeah, and then this intergalactic, space travelers who can travel faster than the speed of light come down and shove something in our asshole. Like they come down and take a skin sample.
Think about during that time period that they're like, whoa, anal probes, what the fuck? An anal probe from like a mysterious being sounds like such a propaganda piece to be like, like I know we've gotten like that'll project this into an entire fucking episode, but like it's just off the wall, and I don't think that there's any rhyme or reason to it. I think that people see things. Yeah, maybe they did see something. Yeah, it very likely meant absolutely nothing.
People see things and they interpret it in the way that they can. They process it in the way that they can. And I'm not saying what that thing is or what it was or anything like that, because who the fuck knows. But UFOs and propaganda actually has a very rich history together. I'll do a really quick, my brief understanding of it. But basically, when the UFO phenomena was abductees, so that's 50s and 60s era, before they became contactees. So this is when they were. So basically, over time, the phenomena changes. So it's like, okay, they were abductees. They were taken onto the ship and told things or experimented on or whatever. During that time period, people would come back and be like, "Oh, they told me the best way to like organize nuclear war is bad because that's in the news."
Yeah.
And this is how we as people need to avoid nuclear annihilation that we're traveling towards. So it really feels like the anxiety of the time is influencing this.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people came back and were like, we need to work together. We'll get a bunch of land. We'll make a commune. We'll farm. We'll feed our people. We'll provide our own stuff. And we'll all work together and all love each other. And the U.S. government, especially, J. Edgar Hoover's FBI, said, "Oh, those commie bastards."
No,
And
that's not what the aliens want.
FBI agents were sent to infiltrate UFO cults.
Makes
and
sense.
UFO gatherings and shit like that. Because they were always pushing this communist-esque socialist utopia, idea.
I mean, that would be a good one to get into for like a full episode.
Oh, yeah. You easily can. Because we know this happened.
Yeah.
But the idea that maybe it was just people trying to, I mean, we've talked about it in the UFO cults episode.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that they're just these people who want to be a cult leader and are like, yeah, I was abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
And they told me.
For real.
This.
They told me you should all follow and give me everything that you own.
That was a big thing. You surrender everything to the commune, which means he goes through all your shit, pawns off everything he doesn't want, and keeps what he does.
And then when it starts to fall apart, he has a bunch stockpiled. Yeah. Fuck it.
Including homes.
It's funny, yeah. It's so
they
shitty.
Sign over their titles and their like to their cars and their homes to these leaders, and it was crazy.
Grand.
Happened a handful of times. It was great.
Just
what a time to be alive.
Ridiculous.
God, I could have thrived.
Yeah,
I was born at the wrong time period.
Yeah, born too late.
Yeah, born too late. Not because of the civil rights or the women's rights, but because I could be a cult leader.
Yeah, because I could manipulate people. All right, well, we'll catch you guys next Monday. Patreon subscribers, there will be a Patreon exclusive this Thursday, so catch it.
No. This is published. No, wait, you were right. Fuck.
What the fuck?
Shut the fuck up.